Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is how to use null if function in SQL Server. So the null if function returns null if two expressions are equal. Otherwise, it returns the first expression. So our syntax is null if and expression 1, expression 2. So here it will give you null if both expression 1 and expression 2 are equal. If these two are not equal, then it will return expression 1. So first we'll see some example. So what is the basic comparison is, so we had to compare two expressions. So here I took different data types. So first I took integer. So here what I'm doing, select, and here I'm using nullif function. So I passed two para expressions here. So 10 and 10. So here what it does is it will return null because both expression 1 and expression 2 are equal. So that means 10 and 10. So next is null if 10 comma 20. So here expression 1 and expression 2 are different. So it returns 10. That is expression 1 it returns. So that it is mentioned here. Returns 10 since expression 1 10 is not equal to expression 2 that is 20. So that's why if you see result 1 in this result 1 column it giving null and result 2 column it giving 10. And if you come to string, so null if hello hello, so it will give you null because expression 1 and expression 2 are equal. See here result 3 is null, and similar way null if hello world, and it will give you hello first expression in result 4. So why? Because expression 1 and expression 2 are not equal. And similar way here I took date. If you see here both dates are equal, so it will give you null because both expressions are equal, so we'll get null here. So this is the basic example. So next what we'll do is, what is our one more scenario when to use this function. So for avoiding divide by 0. So that means, so here I took one example. So I am creating one table here. Table employees null if. So here I'm passing some records here, and this is my table. So on top of this table, so here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to divide salary column by years work done. If you see here these two, this is salary column and this is years worked. So 5000 by 5, it will give you output, and this also will get output, this also will get output, but 3000 by null, it will throw error. So that's why here it throwing you error. So divisor belongs to 0 and returns null instead. So it is suggesting to set some enable, so to avoid this error. So but actually to avoid this error, see here if years worked is equal to 0, this causes an error. So here, so this 0 is there, no? Salary divided by 0, it giving you error. Then how to overcome this? So here what I'm doing, salary divided by, instead of directly giving years worked, so here I'm using null if function. So null if years worked, comma 0. So that means what it will happen as per null if function. So first it will check one by one record. So first 5 is there. Null if 5 comma 0. What will happen? It will give you 5 because expression 1 and expression 2 are not equal. Since it is not equal, it will give you 5. So salary 5,000 divided by 5, it will give 1,000. Similar way, 6,000, and here it will come null if years worked is 0, 0, 0. So 0, 0. So both expressions are equal. It will give you null. Okay, so next 45,000 divided by 9, it will give you 5,000. Similar way, 3,000, and if you come here null if years worked is null, 0. So since both expressions are different, it will give you null. Okay, so next it come to 75,000 divided by 15. So 5,000. So by using null if, we are trying to avoid this error. So next, so same thing I explained here. If years works equal to 0, that means null if years worked 0, 0. That means since both expressions are equal, it giving you null. So the result is null instead of error. So earlier we got error. Without using null if, we got error. So after using null if, we are not getting error. So instead we are getting null. So one more scenario is how to remove duplicate values. So here what I'm trying to do is, so I'm applying on HR column. If you see HR column in our basic data frame, initial data frame, I'll take a screenshot. And if you come again here, so null if department HR. So if you come to department column, in our initial example, so this is department. So first we'll check with this one. So null if department is HR. So HR, HR means it will give you null. So department check. So department check, this is new column. In this new column, it will give you null because both HR and HR, both expressions are same. Next, it will come for admin. So admin, HR. So since both expressions are different, it will give you first expression as output, that is admin. So we are getting admin here. And this record finance, HR. So this also same. Both expressions are different. It will give you output as first expression, that is finance. So we are getting finance. Next come to HR. So null if HR, HR. So that means both expressions are same. It will give you null. Next, if you come to accounts, null if accounts, HR. So both expressions are different. It will give you first expression, that is accounts. So same, I give an explanation here. If a department is equal to HR, it returns null. So that means if both expressions are equal, it returns null. Otherwise, it returns actual department. So next we'll see how to use with case expressions. So here I'm applying on bonus column. If you see here, this is our bonus column. So here what I'm doing, case statement I given. So in when condition, if null if bonus, 0. So that means first I'll compare with 5. So null if 5, 0. If now both expressions are different, it will give you output as first expression, that is 5. So this 5, the output of null if bonus, 0 is 5. So is null. So actually this is not is null. So if this condition is not satisfied, then what will print? It will print has bonus. See here, for first one, we are getting bonus. And similar way, we'll check for second record. So that is 0. So null if 0 comma 0. So since both are expressions are same, output will be null. So that means that is null, is null. So now condition is satisfying. It will print no bonus. See here. So wherever in bonus column, so wherever we have 0 and it is matching, so it will print no bonus. So in excluding 0, it print has bonus. Okay. So this is about how to use a case statement. So same thing explained here. And next is comparing two columns. So for comparing two columns, what I'm doing, so I selected salary column and bonus column. On top of that, what I'm doing, null if salary comma bonus. If you see, first record is 5,000 comma 5. Since both expressions are different, it will print you first expression 5,000. See, for all the records, all expressions are different. So it will print first expression. So that in this case, it will print 6,000. This case, it will print 45,000. This case, it will print 30,000. This case, it will print 75,000. So like this, you can compare both the columns and give you output here. Next, filtering rows. So how we can filter by using where condition. So I'm selecting these two columns here from this particular table. In where condition I'm giving null if. So in null if I'm passing name comma department. If you see here, name comma department. This is name and this is name. So by comparing these two columns, if any matching is there, suppose if you take all but HR, so both expressions not matching. So not matching means it will give you first expression, all but. So, but this is null condition is not satisfying. So that means it won't give result. Next, Bobby. So Bobby admin, it is not matching. So it will give you output Bobby. So if you see all the uh, records, so all are not matching. So that means for all the cases, it will provide you first expression. So that means these things it will give you output. But here we given non-null. So what will happen from this table, we'll get 0 output. Suppose if you have any matching here, suppose here Bobby is there, here also Bobby is there, then in our output we'll get this second row. Okay, so here I given is null. Suppose if you give is not null for this condition, so it will print you all these records. Okay, so because in output we are getting all non-null values. So next, null if how to use along with COALESCE and average. So for this I created one table here. So if you see this table, so I have 3 columns, and on top of this, what I'm trying to do is, so here I'm selecting current year, previous year, these 2 columns, and on top of these 2 columns, I'm applying null if of current year, previous year. So what will happen now? So I'm comparing these 2 columns. And given alias last budget, here I will get output. So first, if I compare these two, null if of these two, since both expressions are different, it will give you output first expression, 10,000. And if you see here, both expressions are same, it giving null. And here both expressions are different, so it will give you output first expression 0. And here null comma 30,000. So since null is there, null if null comma 30,000, so it will giving you null. So that means both expressions are different, so it will give you first expression null. So here also both expressions are not matching, so it will give you first expression, that is null. So next what I'm doing, so here I used null if. Okay, so next on top of that I'm using COALESCE. So here what I'm doing, so first I'm trying to explain with COALESCE. So COALESCE of these two columns. So this is current year, previous year. On these two columns we are applying COALESCE. That is COALESCE total budget. This one. So what COALESCE does is, so difference between NULLIF and COALESCE. So NULLIF we saw how it works. So in previous cell we discussed. So now COALESCE of 1 lakh, comma 1,50,000. So COALESCE what it does is, it will print you first non-null value. So here we have both are non-null values. So it will print first non-null value. So that is this one, 1 lakh. And from here, see here, even though it is similar, as per COALESCE, we have two non-null values. It will print first non-null value. That is this one. And here also two non-null values. It will print first non-null value, that is 0. And if you see here, COALESCE of null 3 lakh. So in this we have one non-null value, that is this one. It will print this one. And here we have one non-null value, that is this one. It will print here. So this is about COALESCE. Next we'll see how to use NULLIF on top of this. So now our result of this is this one. On top of this, we are using NULLIF. So NULLIF of 1 lakh, comma 0. So as per NULLIF, this 1 lakh and 0. So these two expressions are different. So what will happen? First expression it will print. That is 1 lakh. Next it come to NULLIF 3 lakh, comma 0. So 3 lakh and 0, both expressions are different. It will print first expression, that is 3 lakh. Next, NULLIF of this is 0 and this is 0. Since both expressions are equal, it will print null. Next, NULLIF of 3 lakh, comma 0. Since both expressions are different, not matching, it will print first expression, that is 3 lakh. Next, if you come to this one, NULLIF of 1,50,000, comma 0. So since both expressions are not matching, it will print first expression, that is 1,50,000. Next, after doing this, on this column, now I am taking average. See here, first we discussed about this COALESCE. Next we discussed about NULLIF on top of this. Now what we are doing, I'm taking average of this one. So that means for this column, I'm taking average. So I'm adding all these values and dividing by 5. And I'm getting this value. So this how you can use NULLIF function along with COALESCE and average. So that's all about this video on how to use NULLIF function in SQL Server. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.